everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought it would be a really fun idea to give you guys some tips on buying a horse and things to look out for, things to take into consideration before you actually make the purchase. This is mainly going to be for people who are purchasing a horse for the first time, because I know it can be very overwhelming and stressful, and there's a lot of pressure to find not only the perfect horse, but the perfect match for you personally. I've been through this process quite a few times, so I understand how stressful it can be, and I just want to help you guys out if you're needing advice. With that being said, let's get into the video. So if this is your first time buying a horse, please make sure that you are ready to buy a horse. Horses are a lot of responsibility, and they take up a lot of your time and your energy. They're very expensive, they're not cheap at all, so you want to make sure that you're not only like mentally ready to own a horse, but also financially ready. Don't make any decision until you know for sure that you can afford to support your horse and just to be able to live comfortably. If you're not financially on your own and maybe your parents are helping out, then you don't have to worry about this as much. But if you're like me and you're on your own, just make sure that you are making enough and that you're saving enough to support you and your horse. It's really sad when people make the decision to go buy a horse, but then they don't have the time for it, or it's too much work for them and they have to end up selling the horse. It's just not fair to do to the animal, and you're gonna end up spending a lot of money if you do that. So just make sure that this is 100% something you're willing to put in the time and effort for. My second tip is to bring a trainer with you when you're testing out horses. When I was in middle school, I went to go buy a horse, and it was my first horse ever, and I didn't have a trainer with me. And the whole experience trying out that horse was very dramatic. I ended up falling off of the horse while I was testing it out, but I still ended up purchasing it. That's a whole nother story for another time. If I had had like a trainer with me watching me test out this horse, I'm sure things would have gone a lot different. It never hurts to have a second pair of eyes. And you know, if it's somebody that has seen you ride, knows what you're like, knows what you can handle, they can give you a good opinion and a good recommendation on you know, if the horse is right for you or not. So my third tip is don't feel rushed to make a decision on a horse. I know that it can be very exciting, but also overwhelming when you're looking for a horse. And if you're anything like me, you probably just want to have a horse and like get the process over with. But it really does pay off to take your time and, you know, try out a variety of horses. Don't feel like you have to make a decision on like the very first horse. Give yourself time. It can be a long process depending on what you're looking for and just finding the right match for you. But I think it really is important to try your best to stay positive with the whole process and the whole journey. Take everything into consideration with each horse, but don't make a decision until you're 100% sure that you've found the right horse for you. Don't settle for anything. Don't try to convince yourself that a horse is right for you if you know deep down that it isn't. My fourth tip is to try to prep as much as you can before you bring your horse home. Just try to have like grooming equipment, you know, tack, whatever you can buy beforehand. Try to get all of that before the horse actually comes home. It'll make your life a lot less stressful if you're like prepared and everything can go smoothly and you don't have to stress about, oh, I have to go buy all of this stuff and, you know, my horse gets here tomorrow. Like, just try your best to prepare. Obviously, there's gonna be things that you may not be able to purchase until you have your horse, like certain tack pieces you may need to wait until, you know, you can like measure, whatever. But when it comes to like grooming stuff and halters, I would try to just buy ahead of time. And it's really fun. I think this is something that you can focus on while you're in the process of trying to find a horse. If you're like me and you're a shopaholic, now's your time. You can go out and buy all the, you know, equipment that you need. I was so prepared for my first horse. Like I had every brush, every hoof pick, every detangler. I had fly masks, halters, blankets, like I was ready to go. I definitely think that you should try your best to prepare. Obviously, you know, the horse world is expensive, so do what you can in the beginning. My fifth and final tip for you guys is to make sure, please make sure to do a vet check or any other necessary examination before you purchase the horse. This is so crucial because I've seen it so many times where people will purchase a horse and then find out a couple weeks later that the horse has an issue of some sort, and it can just be very, very hard to deal with if, you know, the previous owner isn't upfront with you about their medical condition or whatever it is. And it's just always better to be safe than sorry. So make sure that you do a vet check. It is so worth it and so important, not only for you, but for the horse. Like, you don't want to go on not knowing that your horse has some type of condition or, you know, issue. So just make sure that you do that before purchasing. So I hope that this helped you guys out at least a little bit. I know that these tips are pretty generic, but it is just really important to take each and every one into consideration when you're in the process of buying a horse. And I know that it can be very scary and it may be really stressful and overwhelming, but just try your best to enjoy the process because you're buying a horse, which is awesome. And I think now, like looking back on it, I had so much fun like trying out different horses, and once I finally found the one for me, I was just like over the moon. I was so happy, and it seriously is the best feeling once you get to bring it home. So just take your time, don't rush yourself, and try your best to enjoy it, as stressful as it may be. I hope that you find the right horse for you, and I hope that this video was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment so we can chat down below, like the video. You can follow me on Instagram, I'll have it in the description, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.